Hello everyone, welcome back to the Age of Empires 4 commentary, and today we have an absolute banger for you. Today we have two top-end content creators and also two top-end pros going at it. We have Lash playing as the red Abbasid in the top-hand side of the map, and down below we have GiveUAnxiety in the blue playing as the Holy Roman Empire. Both of these people stream a ton on Twitch, so we'll leave their links in the description below. Lash is a German/English streamer, so he streams in both languages. GiveUAnxiety is English and streams mostly in that / only in that. But I believe GiveUAnxiety was also a former AoE map tester or civ tester or balance tester. One of those three, so very, very skillful and has a lot of insider knowledge of the game. Lash has been on the up and up coming in, especially, and he's doing super, super well in this Call to Arms tournament, has dismantling the lower opponents and then doing super well into some of the higher tier ones. So today we have the Abbasid and the Holy Roman Empire, a pretty solid matchup. I mean, the Holy Roman Empire wants to go Castle Age almost as quickly as possible, get that Regnance going, get that Arcane Chapel in a good spot. We have a few good locations for it. It could be right here. We could put it over yonder and still get the gold. We could stick it in the backhand side, but I doubt that's going to be the case. I'm assuming it's going to be here or here. Get that Castle Age, get that Regnance Cathedral up, get those men-at-arms churning. Across the way, though, the Abbasid player is not too upset if it goes into Castle Age, especially if they get that second TC down quite quickly. You're not going to usually see too much early aggression out of the HRE player, so GiveUAnxiety is probably not going to go for any early rushes. So Lash is going to probably feel pretty safe to get out to this stone pretty quickly and kind of make a quick decision to make it go super, super fast. You can trade on this map. It's not as lucrative as other maps. The trade ends right here. But it is pretty easy to wall off over here, and then it's easy to wall off right here, and then you can kind of just do a few walls back here, put your market. I don't know if you can stick it back here or if it would just go back here. It'd be a short version of trading, but it'd be pretty safe. So we might be seeing that out of Lash. We might be seeing the military wing. There's the Arcane Chapel stuck right in there. Wow, right in the middle. Only thing that's the issue with that one is it's not going to have a farm spot over here and here. That's okay. And we have the Eco Wing, which is pretty standard, especially into a civilization like the HRE, which is not going to do too much early aggression. So it's it makes sense in this situation. I like what Lash is doing here. If you have made it this far into the video and you are enjoying, please do leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I will also leave the EGC TV link in the description below that's putting on this Call to Arms tournament, which I'm getting all these amazing games from, because since they're doing so many group stages, they're not all cast on stream, so they're open for casters to kind of go out, which is awesome for the community, so big shout out to them. So the Eco Wing, of course, the Abbasid player cannot add any builders to this, so they have to follow the exact same standard 1 minute and 45 seconds every single time. There's no speeding it up, there is no changing it, and it's all in this one building. If it gets knocked down, that is all she wrote. Now across the way we can see that GiveUAnxiety only has 4 on this over here, and the prelates back here inspiring away at these straggler treed villagers over here. So we'll have to wait and see what GiveUAnxiety decides to do, but I wouldn't be surprised if we just see a pretty calm early game, which just leaves me talking for days and days and days, but not too much to do in that sense. There's not going to be too much aggression. We don't even see an early barracks, stable, anything like that from Lash. We might see a stable. I've been seeing that a lot of Abbasid players go for a few horsemen just for some map control early on, just so they feel pretty safe about whatever they want to do. There is the first dinging of the feudal age, but nothing's going to really change in terms of aggression, or I don't think that GiveUAnxiety is going to throw down anything in terms of actual military units or production anytime soon. Especially that he just scouted that Lash is going for that second TC, so knows that literally nothing is coming his way. Traditionally, the Holy Roman Empire players do have to start adding some towers, which is a perfect spot for one right over here. They have those boosted towers and early on walls. It makes a lot of sense because they really need to protect themselves most of the time. HRE villagers are so important, especially around this Arcane Chapel. As for instance, like against the English, something like that, this would be an absolute brutal location, as this entire wood line and gold would be under fire constantly. But we're not going to see too fast of a castle. Actually, I tell an instant lie, honestly. So the second I say we might not see too much, I give you anxiety. He's dropping the horseman and archery stables right away. Lash is not going for anything, just going for the standard eco upgrades. So actually, we're going to see some early aggression out of the HRE. And it's not going to be the standard men-at-arms kind of play. We're going to get a little bit of something different going on. We're going to be seeing some early horsemen and those archers coming out, which does throw you off. I've seen Demu do this a bunch, where he gets the HRE archers, and they do really throw your opponents off. That being said, Lash is coming in for the scout, so might see this a little bit delayed, but just in time for actually react to something. And as we discussed and mentioned, Lash is also getting a stable to secure a little bit of map control with his own horsemen. He will be met with a higher amount of horsemen on Giving Anxiety side. But with how flimsy horsemen are, it's not like they can even dive this TC. One thing this did do, though, was it did not allow Lash to put this on any deer over here. And this deer in Berry would be the absolute ideal location for the second TC, because the Abbasid really do struggle with food production. They really rely on those berries with those increased gather rates. So not getting a safe berry bush over here plus large deer pack combo is pretty devastating. That one archer almost moved into the range is going to get a little bit of a kiss, if you will, for his troubles, but that is about it. And here comes the first horseman. They're going to be quick to move out, and I don't think that this is what Lash wants to do on the backhand side. And we see another horseman over here. I don't think it's going to do too much damage, though, because it's not a knight, and it's just going to get taken down. So essentially throwing away that horseman for free. Yes, they do get some idle time, but that's about it. As I mentioned, it's not a knight, it's not an arbor unit, so it doesn't really matter. And it looks like Lash also lost a horseman over here. Oh no, he pulled it back just in time. So good news on that front. We have even more army coming in for Give You Anxiety, which is definitely a little bit strange coming out of here. I feel like the more ideal play would just be to go right up to that castle edge and get Regnans out as quickly as possible. But hey, these two are pros and way better than I am, so I'm sure that they've practiced this build quite a few times, so I'm sure they know what they're doing. With this horseman, Give You Anxiety is trying to get a little bit of map control in some capacity. He's looking for this scout over here, but isn't able to find much at all. Now, these horsemen are going to find a few of these on the berry bush, but Lash did secure a whole bunch of sheep and is actually going to be losing another horseman over here, which is not good at all. That's another free donation. Yes, it's a little bit of idle time, but as I mentioned, Lash has an absolute plethora of sheep over here, a flock, if you will, and he's going to be feeling a-okay. Giving Anxiety is actually going even more into this, has now produced a barracks as well in the front-hand side, and started to produce spearmen on this feudal aging, kind of all in for the HRE. This is such a weird build. I've never seen such something like this, and honestly, the standard kind of practice for HRE is you get to Castle Age as quickly as possible. Maybe he scouted something in the terms of maybe he knows that Lash likes to go a little bit aggressive with his Abbasid or something like that, but now the two horsemen are going to find this expanded deer pack, but there's going to be a spearman and a few horsemen waiting for them over there, so no trouble done, but there's not much they can really do. They missed the second TC. Lash smartly put it in range of his other TC, so feeling very confident over there. That being said, one thing I do like about this build for Give You Anxiety is that Lash is going to run out of food a little bit. He also might not have accounted for that Lash has this many sheep still, because if Lash did not have that many sheep, this would be very hard to deal with, because these berries over here and this food over here would be the only source of food or income. So I do like the sense that I think that this could have worked, but unfortunately for him, Lash was able to secure the bag in terms of sheep, flock, before he got anything, and now has a bunch of horsemen out himself, and that one camel rider to do all that DPS. Now where is the camel? Is it right there? Is that the camel? No, the camel's not in there. Where's the camel? There he is. And look at that. Camels cause enemy horse cavalry units to deal 20% less damage. So six of the 23 army units that Give You Anxiety has, now 7, essentially do a fifth less damage, which is actually pretty big in this matchup, especially if we're going to be taking into account that TCs are going to be involved. Look at that. One horseman gets absolutely wrecked. Don't want to lose that camel, though. Those are really expensive, so do not want to lose that in the slightest. But is now secured another gold vein over here. That is the power of this TC. And Both sides are definitely doing super well. GiveUAnxiety is doing a great job on the back end side in terms of their economy, floating a decent amount of resources, but not too much. Lash is in the same boat over here, holding a little bit of food, but is probably going to be spending that down quite quickly. We're getting the upgrades for the +1 range defense, which I think will be very helpful, especially with these two TCs constantly firing in. And as you can see, it is starting to benefit him that Lash cannot expand out to this other food sources. We are starting to dwindle down on sheep, and these berries are a little bit long range mining. So Lash would love to get out here, but GiveUAnxiety is patiently waiting and knows that this is what the fight's going to be about. It's going to be about this deer and this berry patch over here. If Lash can win a battle and secure this, I think Lash is in a really good spot. If he cannot, or if he loses this battle over here and cannot expand out into this new food resource, he is going to be struggling for food quite soon and might have to start to get a little bit risky and start to expand out. As you can see, that is the exact gameplay of GiveUAnxiety. He knows exactly what's going on and the ins and outs. He knows that the Abbasid player needs some new food resources, so he's keeping horsemen on all the possibilities that could be happening and knows that this is going to be the battle over here. These archers actually could get in range and snipe one villager. One's going to go down, I believe. Oh, a little bit unfortunate misfire there from GiveUAnxiety, so does not get the actual payoff of killing off a villager. But Lash is going to be able to find the perfect timing because this tower is just about to go down. So does not finish that in time. And now these horsemen are tracking down all these with a side of beef. And it looks like we're actually going to be getting an all-in on this town center, which is really strange because two armies are going to be absolutely peppered by two town centers, and there's no really armor units here. There's a few feudal age men at arms, but they are not enough to tank two TCs firing down. A little bit of a forward step there from GiveUAnxiety. I don't think that's what he wanted, but I think he just get a little bit impatient, and now there's a lot of horsemen over here, so he assumed that he'd have the superior numbers, and it looks like Lash will be the first one to take down a good amount of villagers, and I think he was even able to take down all those ones that were running away from the boar. So this is an absolutely huge raid. 8 villagers go down, and honestly, that could be the entire deciding factor. I love GiveUAnxiety's starter. I was a little bit confused as to why he was going to something a little bit different and not kind of doing the standard at-home type of thing. But Lash was able to do the great scouting, great movement on the map, and now Lash can go and secure this new food resources out here, which I'm assuming he's going to be doing quite soon. Gets a few towers down, and he'll be in a very good spot. Now, we do still have 5 horsemen over here, and GiveUAnxiety is bringing the rest of his horsemen over here. They will be able to clean these up finally, which is going to be a nice way to deal with the thorn in the side. But 9 villagers going down is absolutely huge in this matchup in terms of HRE. HRE villagers are so valuable. They're essentially worth like 40%, especially under that Arcane Chapel, which is why it's so pivotal early on if you're the English, if you're the Abbasid, if you're something that can't outboom the HRE. The Abbasid can outboom them, so take them out of that list. But the English, the Ottomans, stuff like villagers like that, civilizations like that, you need to do some damage to the HRE economy, or you're going to be in a really rough spot. And Lash was able to do just that, and also has a booming civ behind it, which is just the best of both worlds. It looks like he's going to have a full-on engage and taking out all those spearmen. Now the horsemen go back in. The camel riders are still up and going, but the horsemen for GiveUAnxiety are not here. They're over here, a little bit farther back. So a very unfortunate engage. He's going to be losing a lot of valuable men-at-arms, and it is 61-35, and Lash is putting on a clinic on how to deal with this kind of new age strategy. I'm not sure if anyone's going to use it in the future, but hey, they gave it a go, and I know exactly what GiveUAnxiety was trying to do. It was just very unfortunate. I think with all those sheep collection, I think this game would look entirely different if they didn't have as many sheep as they possibly did. And then took a few unfortunate situations, and Lash got a very good write-off, which really changed the tide of the game. If you can imagine 10 more villagers here right now, I think GiveUAnxiety would be feeling a lot better than where he's at right now. But here come these horsemen, and they do not want to deal with this massive Abbasid archer mass. Now this is not even where they spike. If Lash is able to sneak up to Castle Age and get those composite bows down, and there it is, the wall of towers protecting these sacred berries. They need them so badly. If Lash is able to get up to Castle Age and get those composite bows, this game is going to be done and dusted. But we'll have to wait and see the response here from GiveUAnxiety. Definitely liked what he was trying there on that early feudal age aggression push, but unfortunately, with some things outside of his control, did not work out super well. But we do like to see that he's staying in the game and starting to pump out these farm transitions in the backhand side, which is going to be super good in terms of this Akka and Chapel placement. But Lash is now going to be moving out with his pretty sizable force, so GiveUAnxiety is going to have to prep for that in some kind of way. We can see that the discrepancy in villagers and discrepancy in army. So this is going to be a nice move out for here from Lash, and it's going to be able to, if these armies do not clash together, oh no, we're going to have another unfortunate engage where most of the horsemen for GiveUAnxiety are not in the picture, so more units are being donated away, which GiveUAnxiety cannot afford at the current moment, and these archers are now going to be completely cooked in the backhand side. If they were able to get here a little bit sooner, this might have changed the tide a little bit more, but now they are on the backside. They will be able to do a lot of damage to these archers. This is a great engage from GiveUAnxiety. I think it was just a little bit unfortunate that his horsemen were not there just a little bit quicker. As you can see, it is really cutting into the Lash numbers, and this one is just doing the dubstep dance in the middle of it all. But these horsemen are such a good counter into these archers. You can see even with the overwhelming forces, these horsemen make light work of these archers, and they're still doing it. They've cut it down to only 19. So a really nice engage there from GiveUAnxiety. It could have been even better, but I think he's going to be quite pleased with how that kind of went down. These horsemen are getting super great value in cleaning up all these archers. GiveUAnxiety got right back into this game with that kind of counterattack, and you love to see that from the pros. They can really change the tide with some excellent micro. That flanking position worked out so well. Probably gonna have to fall back at this point though. Cannot go into this 2 TC and kind of 3 tower placement over here. We'll lose one more horseman, but can now retreat and be pretty content with what's going on the back end side. We see a bunch of men-at-arms being produced now for GiveUAnxiety, up to 8 on the field with 1 more in production. We have a few more archers coming in as well. Lash is sitting at a ton of villagers though. I don't think even the prelates and that Akka and Chapel can really make up for what's going down. But Lash is now down to just these berries over here and these deer. So if GiveUAnxiety can do a little bit of raiding on these front and side, they could be sitting in a decent spot. And there we go. There's the raid. But Lash with the quick wiggle sticks and able to get those villagers out of harm's way quite easily. And now they're sitting under this couple of towers over here and a lot of horsemen on the side of Lash. 7 are in the front lines. These men-at-arms are doing a great job to absorb all of this archer fire, but with this many things hitting them all at once, it's becoming too overwhelming. At TC, you have 4 towers in range, and now Lash is just going, okay, we're good to go. We can just move this back. We should be in a good spot. And continuing on that eco. Now, feudal age aggression is obviously not what the HRE are known for, so it's very impressive that Lash was able to kind of scout, see what was going on, and see how it was happening, and kind of adapt his strategy to make that so he could make it work as best as possible. Normally at this point, Lash would have wanted to go on Castle Age, but made the correct call with the correct amount of units to actually save himself and not deal with any, and then also put himself into a great position with that counter raid. That counter raid would probably change the whole game, so that is why you should always be moving with your units no matter what. Even if you are a little bit behind in terms of unit count, which he was at the time, you can always make something happen. This one Lash horseman is going to, oh, you can take that on. Go, don't run away from those butter knives. Come on, what do they pay you for? Get your back in there. There we go. Start poking away. Deal some damage. Those are only butter knives. Get in there. There we go. There's a cavalry behind you. Here they come. Start to run. And oh, there's a whole little squad. There's a whole squad for everyone here. And now the archers are here as well. GiveUAnxiety going to protect that. There's actually a proxy barracks going on over here, which you love to see from GiveUAnxiety. And we just have a copious amount of villagers on deer. As I mentioned, Lash doesn't have that much food available, but it has started his farm transition as well, which has delayed his Castle Age up until right now. When this Castle Age dings, though, I think GiveUAnxiety is going to be in a very rough spot, and is probably going to be hurting pretty badly. I wouldn't be surprised actually if he just GGs right out once that goes on, or maybe he'll do one more engage with all of these men-at-arms that are being produced from these proxy barracks up front. Now these men-at-arms, there's a lot of them. There's 19 on the field, and they're slicing and dicing through this feudal age army. I do like this timing push here from GiveUAnxiety. You know you have to go in before that military wing finishes up and gets those composite bows down, because once those come into play, this is not going to end well at all for you, good sir. But before that, you can get a lot of good value with these men-at-arms. And there's so many of them. There's now 19 on the field. There is 7 horsemen as well, and we have a bunch more army on the way. So GiveUAnxiety is going all in for this. No ram technology though, I don't think so, or I haven't seen one, or we just haven't had the ability to do one yet. No, siege engineering has not been created just yet. And there it is. So there is the ding up in age. GiveUAnxiety knows that this is now or never right here. This is the final hurrah with these men-at-arms before those upgrades start to come in. Once they come in, it's going to be heavily in favor of Lash. So I do like what GiveUAnxiety is doing, is going for broke. This is for all the marbles, for every single one. And look at how many men-at-arms there are. They actually are doing pretty good work. But there's 4 towers over here, and they cannot hold this off. 3 villagers have gone down, but these horsemen are doing a good job at holding the front line. And more are going to be going down. The archers are going to be dinging, and there's the composite bows. That is the crucial upgrade for Lash to get quite soon. But now Ghoulims and crossbowmen are on the way, and with those they'll be able to cut through this heavy armored side of the HRE. The Ghoulims are in the middle right now, as you can see how much damage they can actually take. We now have Lancers on the map as well, which are also heavily armored units, and that is going to be a full-on cleanup of this GiveUAnxiety force. We do see a little bit of floating gold, but not too much floating food. That being said, is going up in food quite quickly with that Arcane Chapel farm transition that he has going on the back-end side. So might be actually able to get up to Castle Age faster than I would have assumed, and see what we can do on that front. But it's still starting to spend a little bit over here. Got a bunch of spearmen, and the spearmen were to take on, they were in response to the Lancers that he saw, but there's a lot more Ghoulims, and there's a lot more archers coming in. We have a double Moss coming in to secure all these relics, so Lash knows full well that he is not in Castle Age just yet, and he knows that this is his sweet spot to take those relics off the map. And that is the most important thing against the HRE. Keep them off of those relics. They can get back into any game, anytime, if they get enough relics going on. And the gold is there, just not the food just yet, but it will be quite soon. We're going to be probably seeing Regnant's Cathedral. And Lash is now very aware of this kind of proxy base that GiveUAnxiety had going on over here. But at least it's keeping it interesting. We do see, we're going to get a full poke down of this one villager over here. There we go. Boom. I mean, an absolute, pretty dramatic if we're being honest, but there is a Regnant's Cathedral. So GiveUAnxiety might be proving me wrong right here. Maybe the HRE has some absolute staying power and they can really get the job done and keep in this game. I thought he was down and out at least 7 minutes ago, so I'm just impressed that he is still here and making this a very fun and entertaining match to watch. These Ghoulims are now going to make their way over to this proxy base, and that is 11 villagers that I don't think are going to survive the night, which is unfortunate. Nope, just kidding. They have decided to pull back for apparently no reason, and they're now moving down to this proxy base that has absolutely no one in it. So the Regnant's Cathedral is going down with 9 villagers in the backhand side of the base. There's only, this relic is over here on the side of the map, not super protected, especially with this army over here. We have this one over yonder, and then we have few over here, which he sees in full capacity by his proxy base. But we have archers moving out over here to do some damage in the front hand side, and the Ghoulims are in on the production. So Lash could be dropping some rams right now if he wanted. We have the +2 range defense, which can make these Ghoulims even tankier, same with these Lancers, and we have the +1 to the veteran horsemen as well. And there they go, they're diving those Arcane Chapel farms, so valuable. More and more villagers going down. There's not enough room for the entire squad to hang out in there. 24 villagers have been killed, and this might be the final push. We have the entire range mass being untouched from GiveUAnxiety. Lash is still putting the pressure on. As you can see, the red dots are moving out across the map. We have archers that moved in over here that I think killed off a bunch of these villagers, and we have red dots moving in constantly across the way. These crossbowmen being mixed in was such a good switch up from Lash, able to fully deal with these men-at-arms over here, and now is fully stopping the food production from the HRE player, which is so pivotal to deal with And there is the GG's. GiveUAnxiety calls it. This was a wonderful game. Lash played this so well. GiveUAnxiety gave us a great, unique strategy for feudal age aggression with the HRE. And we can only thank them enough. Thank you so much for EGC. And if you guys did enjoy, please do like and subscribe. We are so close to 1,000. Again, this is pre-recorded before I go on vacation. So if we hit it, that's amazing. If not, we're so close, and I hope we do very soon. Thank you so much.